Hello YouTube, what is going on? I am the Undead Circuit, aka the One Defect, and today we're going to be playing a bit of Planetbase. I'm just going to get straight into it, first I'm talking over a few things. So yeah, we're going to get straight into it. Right now I've unlocked up to the Class F planet, but I'm going to be playing on the Class D because I'm going to be playing on Class D planet, because it's kind of late. I just want to have a fun little casual gaming session. And I think this is going to be a good point to start on with. So as you can see, we're going to pick a random starting location. I want to be... Some places doesn't look too mountainous, but I don't think this map really matters. I don't think this really makes a difference. Anyway, that looks mountainous. Ooh, there's a bit of frame drop there. I don't know why. I'm going to try to keep this video to about 25 minutes, because whenever I get close to 30, I start experiencing some really heavy frame drop in this game for some reason. I have no idea why, but I believe it's due with fraps. So, as we can see, the characteristics of the planet is light amount is high, so solar panels are actually really good. Atmosphere density high, so wind turbines work, sandstorm risk high, meteor risk low. So that is good. We're going to hit start game, we're going to load into the game. Game is now loading. Game is done. So as our ship is landing, and the astronauts are coming out, I'm going to talk about what they do and their tasks, and then we're going to get into a bit of base building. And this video is going to be more in the style of like a showing off introduction to the game. To those of you who don't know, I might continue the series, I might not. I don't know, it just depends how I feel or just what people say. So as we can see, we got 3 people with blue stripes. They are workers. We got green stripes, which are biologists. There's the workers, there's the biologists. This is a engineer. Medic with red stripes, carrier bot, which is blue, and orange is construction bot. I will go into more of that later. So first of all, we're going to have to build, we're just going to scout out the area. I'm going to demolish this to get all the resources out, and I'll go over the resources as we need them. That is not what I wanted to do. So first of all, we're going to go to structures, interior structure. We're going to build an oxygen generator. We're going to go max size. And I think I'm going to build it over here, because I want a mine to go here later, down the line. But we built an oxygen generator. That's going to require 2 metal, which are these, and 2 bioplastic, which are these. So our worker is going to carry it to it. And then once it's got all the resources, we're going to have either the construction bot. We're going to have either the construction bot or the engineer come up and start building. It looks like no, we have the engineer coming. As you can see, the task is going to oxygen generator. It's going to go build it. So yeah, but now, so it's built. It's going to be built in a second, but there's no way of getting in, so we need to build an airlock. And airlock, I'm going to be building on this side here, and I'm going to connect it by clicking on both buildings, and then there'll be a little chain link icon which I have to click. Now, connections do require resources to make, so that's something you have to keep in mind. If I click up here in the top right, you can see here's my resources. So I've got 25 meals, which are most likely pasta at the beginning. Yes, they're pasta, and as far as I know, pasta is the most efficient form of food. Before I continue, I'm just going to click up here where it says show tops, and I'm going to disable that so you can see inside. And I'm going to start building a few things. I'll go through them as I make them, but this is a water generator, and I'm going to link it there. This is a water extractor. This is going to get me water, which allows me to turn it into oxygen, so my astronauts can breathe. The oxygen generator will supply 30 people. The medium size can supply 30 people, but I like to keep it around 25. So yeah, we're gonna go to exterior structure, and we're gonna build a solar panel quickly. We're gonna build a medium size solar panel. I'm gonna build it over here. I'm gonna link that as well, and then I'm gonna set that to high priority because I want them to finish that, because I need them to finish that solar panel before nighttime hits. Because I need a wind turbine up before nighttime hits, preferably. And we're gonna have the engineer. He's coming now to build it. And once he has that to construct, I'm going to quickly, as fast as possible, try to get a wind turbine down. Because if you don't get a wind turbine by night, you are screwed. Because your airlock doesn't work without electricity. So that's a problem you can have, is your airlock will not work. He's just linking the connector. Now these connectors only take one metal because they don't need a tube. They don't need to support an atmosphere. So they're a little bit cheaper to maintain. I think we're going to make it, which is really good. Because I have had a few... there have been a few situations where I have not got it. As you can see here, the oxygen generator is currently producing oxygen, and both rooms, all three buildings are filling up, which is really good. This game, I think, I'll demonstrate it as we go on later down the line, but this game has a really good... I also want to get a max battery out as well. I know that's a little bit far for them to walk, but I'm not panicking too much now because we have our wind turbine. We can generate power through the night. Just as it's about to hit nighttime, which is good, we have oxygen for... Ooh, that was close. That was a meteorite. If that hits a building, it will completely take it out. I think you'll have to replace it. You can't have your workers go and rebuild it. And if it hits a pressurized area with people in it, they will die. Because the atmosphere is not breathable. Just because I don't have the tops on, doesn't mean they're open. It just means it's not breathable, which is quite bad. As you can see, we have 7 colonists, which are the workers. Forgive the banging if you can hear it in the background. Yeah, so now it's nighttime. Now the solar panel isn't going to work. It's not going to be producing any energy, which is a problem. And it's really problematic that we just ran out of wind. As you can see, we should be okay because I think because the solar panel's still producing some electricity, but that's going to drop quite fast now. As you can see down there, it's a little grid icon. That's our power grid, and right now the grid is consuming 7.5 kilowatts, and the wind turbine is producing 13, so we're still fine. Which is why I want this done as possible, because that extra amount of energy that's being produced isn't going anywhere. It's just being lost. So it's not really... not that beneficial. This is why I like this going up, because if the wind suddenly drops, my base is going to run out of power instantly, because no more power is being produced. As you can see here, it's gone up to 16, which is good. I want it as high as possible. And now that there's an excess, once this is connected, it should start flowing into the power collector, which is just basically a big battery. And you can see we can store 12,500 kilowatts, I believe. Yeah, kilowatts of power. So yeah, then what we're going to do is we're going to go over to interior building, and we're going to build a dorm, because our people will be getting tired around about now. So I'm going to build a dorm a little bit... Oh, I've run out of power. So you see, look, the wind's completely dropped. We are currently producing 5, and we require 8. Which is problematic, because, well, we've got 6, so it's slowly going up. Here's 8, so we just need 8.5. Here we go. Okay, we're producing 10 now. The wind's picked back up. The battery bank is filling up nicely. This is what I don't like about the airlock system. One airlock can only support one person at a time. As you can see down here, this is the queue of people trying to use it, and it's going off my screen. So yeah, that's what I don't like about the airlock, is only one person at a time can make it, and you can't, as far as I know, you can't get any bigger size. Which is annoying and problematic. We're just going to save the game here. As you can see, it's save 57. Even with recently cleaning out my save file, it fills up quite quickly, because you want to keep saving. In case something goes wrong, you can just revert back to it if you have a problem. I seem to be getting... yeah, no, it's frame rate stable. It just, for some reason, a random drop here and there. I don't know if that's to do with the game, or my machine, or fraps. I don't really know. I hope it's not causing too much of a problem in the video. As you can see, we've got people coming here. Now, I did build a large dorm, so it was going to require a bit more. I think if I go here, I can check. Yeah, 4 metal, 4 bioplastic. But let me go over some more of the resources. So we got medical supplies, which is used to heal workers and stuff, because they can get injured and hurt. Later down the line, you can actually have raiders come to your base, because you can build like you can basically build it into like a tourism industry. So you can get a bar and a multi-dome. Just a lot of fun. I haven't seen a need to have a security lab. I mean, only the real point about that early game is if there's a sandstorm. Oh wow, that's really bad. If there's a sandstorm that's happening, you can actually order all your guys to go on yellow alert, which means they'll stay inside the base. They won't leave they won't go outside. Everybody outside will come inside. But now they're probably going to be getting hungry, so we're going to build a large canteen. Because I believe we should still have the resources. Yes, we have. Okay, it says we have metal. This little arrow here means some of it's being used currently. I believe if it goes red, it means things are requiring what isn't available. Yeah. So as you can see right now, we have 23. But as soon as they start putting metal onto the canteen, it will start. Yeah, don't worry about that. I think what's happened is, why is the base losing oxygen? Oh yes, it's trying to fill up. Sorry, let me just detour a little bit here. The reason why this is happening is not because we're having problems and I need to build another oxygen generator. The reason is the oxygen, there's a finite amount which the oxygen generator will produce. That will then get pulled into other rooms to try to equalize the pressure. And when the pressure is equalized, or when the pressure is above, when the pressure is equalized, the oxygen generator will keep producing until it pressurizes everything to 100%. Or in this case, oxygen 22%, because that's the normal breathing. That's the normal atmospheric concentration of oxygen is 22%. As far as I can remember, I think that might be wrong. I don't know. Don't quote me on it. But yeah, so we got that canteen going up, and you'll see as soon as we start building the canteen, the oxygen in the entire base will start to drop. Obviously, the larger the chain of buildings, the longer it'll take for the whole base to stabilize. Which is where you would want to build more oxygen generators, which is why I like to build a new one when I have about 20 colonists. As you can see, people are getting thirsty, which is why I'm trying to build this as fast as possible. We have our construction robot. Ooh, that was... Yeah, the asteroids... The hitboxes seem to be a bit weird on the asteroids, I will say this now. Not that it happened here, but like if it lands here, it's still... And like the effect, the like ground change effect is over the connector. It won't make a difference. The meteorite has to land on it, which is a bit interesting and weird. We got a dorm, but we have no people in it. Oh, almost recycled. So if we go here, we can edit the room, and we can put down 2 bunk beds. Now I find this is actually very useful, because if you do it wrong, you can get an effect where you can't fit all the way around. There will be a gap about half the size or a little bit smaller than a bunk where you can fit a bunk bed. We're also going to go to the canteen because people are getting thirsty. We're going to put down a drinks machine. We're going to place down 2 vending machines. And okay, this is another thing I found where this costs 2 bioplastic to make a table which can seat 4. This costs 1. Takes up around about a little bit more space, takes up 1 more table worth of space. Actually, let me check that. Because I don't believe, I only believe you can fit 1 in. Yeah, you see, like I can't fit another 1 in, so I can only fit 4 in that gap. But if I do this one, I can fit a total of 6 in that 1 gap, which is great. And then I also want a TV so I can help boost morale. And the plant here. All that will help boost morale. Now I might want to put an extra drinks fountain in because everybody is getting thirsty, but I kind of want stuff to get built as fast as possible. I think he's coming. Yeah, he's building the bunk bed. This is a dorm right now. You will get individual rooms later down the line. I think I can build them now, but there's no real point. Yeah, you can build a cabin, which looks like this. You can get that later down the line, but there's no real point compared to a dorm, because I think a cabin only 1 or 2 people can use, max. But yeah, we're fine now. It's daytime. We've got perfect. We've got a full battery. So right now, just any power going to the grid's waste. You see, we're producing 73 kilowatts of power. Oh, one more resource I didn't go over is spares. Like you can see, there's a condition on these, which is excellent. That condition will slowly degrade over time. Yeah, same with the robots. Actually, if I show you the robots, you can see it. You see, look, excellent, but it's falling. That is because it's being used. Its parts are wearing down. So a engineer has to take. So when this breaks down completely and shuts down, an engineer will go and pick up spare parts and repair it. Later down the line, you can also build a robotic factory where you can build more robots. You can actually build a few different types of robots. I think if we click, where is it? If we go to base management, first you can see statistics. The status of the welfare is very poor. That's because we don't have a lot of facilities. We didn't have a lot of facilities yet. So you can see we've got 7 colonists. We've got 3 workers, 2 biologists, 1 engineer, 1 medic, no guards. You don't really need guards just yet. And right now we've got 2 robots. We've got 1 carrier bot, 1 construction bot. We have no drill bots. Drill bots will replace workers in mines, which is really good. And speaking of mines, I'm going to need to build one. I should be building one fairly soon because we've got 18 metal left. So we need the exterior structure. We need to go mine. And I can just link this here with this cable here, which will provide the mine with power. You notice how this wasn't here because you can actually get a path. This is a pathway where people... It's just, I think it's meant to represent a pathway coming out of the airlock, because if you connect it to any other building, you get this connection cable. So you can say it says there medium, you can see it says large. I don't know if there's a way to change that. But yeah, we got a mine coming up, but when the resources that we mine, we have to produce, we have to put through a production facility. Oh, there's another asteroid. We have to put through a processing plant, which I can fit here. Ideally, I would like to build all this off of a storage, like all this off of a main storage, but I don't think at the beginning I have enough resources to put towards that. I can always demolish, I can always rearrange the base later, so I suppose it doesn't matter too heavily. So we're just going to build a normal processing plant here, and we're also going to build a large biodome, which I will place here. The biodome I don't really want to demolish, so I think I'm going to place it just to be on the safe side here. So I think if I place a storage, yeah, I can link it to both, which is what I want. I want everything funneling into the storage, and then the storage, think of it as a dividing line between the storage and the rest of the base. So nobody's walking a great deal of distance. Nobody's using oxygen from rooms further away from the oxygen generator, because that will actually affect the entire base more and more the further it goes. Because the further out it goes, the longer it takes for the oxygen generator to repressurize the base, essentially. So this is building now. This will allow us to process the ores that we make in the mine, that we mine from the mine. It allows us to process it into actual usable materials like bioplastic and metal. Bioplastic's made from starch, which you grow in a farm, in a biodome. And the reason why I built it very large was because it seems more efficient. I don't know if it's entirely correct, it just seems more efficient to me. But we're just going to speed up time because we're not really going to be focusing on much now. So we got our engineer building. The one downside to the mine is injury risk is actually quite high, so you'd want a medical bay. But I don't think I'll really need it just yet. I have, see, look, here's the orange, which means a large amount is being used currently. I've got 5 free. That means I only have, let me just get away from the base for a minute to re-stabilize the FPS. I only have 5 metal free, which means 5, 4, which I think this is done, yeah. That took quite a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think 7. Yeah, 7 sounds about right. So I've got 9 free, 8 free, 7 free. It'll drop down to 4 by the time everything's done, because these also require metal. Okay, we're just gonna... I just want to slow down. In fact, I'm going to save quickly. And I'm going to get this set up. So we're going to do 2 wheat and 2 tomatoes. Alongside with 2 potatoes. And the reason why I've set it up like this is because biologists can handle 3 plants. So I've got 2 biologists, I think it said I had. Let me just see, I think it's F1. No, it's not F1. The shortcuts are on the F series of keys. We have 2 biologists, yes, so that means I can handle 6 crops. Which is good, and you can see this guy's wandering around. His condition is getting decent. and that is wearing down on his integrity. So here we can see so you can see what the plants produce. It produces 2 vegetables, which is producing wheat, and is producing 1 starch. Starch is used in the bioplastic processor, which, as you can see, is 1 starch plus 1 worker equals 1 bioplastic. Same with the metal processing. 1 ore plus 1 worker equals 1 metal. So, now, the reason why I've set this to a higher priority is workers will man this if there's resources outstanding, if there's any resources. If there's no resources, they'll go to the mine. And the reason why I'm doing that now is I want them to stay out of the mine for as long as possible. So we've only got 2 left. I think I'm lucky enough that's enough to build a medical bay. But I think I'm going to build a control center. Now the reason why I'm going to build this is because in case there's a sandstorm. Because I believe, if I remember correctly, sandstorm risk was high. And I want this built so that I can go here. Security controls requires control center. Now later down the line you can get landing pads. We can change the landing permissions to only accept colonists or only accept traders, and then you can get a bigger landing pad and all that kind of stuff. One thing I like to do every now and again is just put the tops back on the buildings so you can see everything. And we are past 20 minutes now. We're coming up to 22 minutes. So I think this is once the control center is done, and I can show you what that does. So I think at that point the base will be fairly stable on its own. We'll keep producing resources. Oh, hang on, let me just get away from it. Like every now and again my FPS will just drop. It's weird. Yeah, so I think it might be the asteroids landing in the background. I don't know. So yeah, once we get this complete, we're just waiting on 2 bioplastic, which we are actually out of. Huh, okay, so we might actually get to see this in this episode. I think I might let it run to 25 minutes just so we can get it. So you can see here's the scientists. And the reason why I planted wheat and tomatoes is because you use that to make pasta. Which, as you can see, all these meals here are pastas. And they'll take the vegetable, they'll take the wheat and the tomatoes, put them in this machine, and they'll make pasta meals. So you can see it's vegetables or vira-meat, which is what that line means, and that makes a meal. And based on what they put in, will determine what meal is and determine the nutrition, the nutritional value, and how well they, how well it affects them. As you can see, here's the stats. You can see this health, nutrition, hydration, oxygen, sleep, tiredness, and morale. Morale gets boosted by having, my TV disappeared. Because I built a wall. Because I built a corridor there, there's no space on the wall for a TV. So we're going to put the TV back over here. But whenever they make food, like this, the tomatoes won't make any starch. The potatoes make... really? I thought the potatoes would make nothing but starch. Yeah, I could have sworn there was a plant which made nothing but starch. Anyway, doesn't matter. Get the potatoes. Actually, I think if that's the case, I think I might switch them out for wheat. Because that wheat will actually help me. Yeah, and you get the resources back, which is really nice. I think, yeah, you get the resources back. I don't think you always get the resources back. But I know... time to time you won't get 100% back. So there we go. So we got 3 tomatoes, 3 wheat. In fact, I think I might change one of those to a medical herb. Just so we can start stockpiling on that. Because even though we can't produce that into medicine just yet, into medical packs, which are these, even though we can't start producing those just yet, they'll actually come in handy later. So you can see it's got a starch, he's put it in the machine, now he's just waiting for a worker. And the worker will come along and make a bioplastic. So you can see we got 1 in use, and 0 free. That's what this is here. And you can see the mine just produced a ore. This is going to the ore airlock, using airlock idle, carrying ore to metal processor. This is why I set this to a high priority. And in fact, why I also set this to a high priority. The priorities matter based on what is in the building. So even though these are both high priorities, you won't have biologists going to go try work these machines. And you won't have workers trying to work the farm crops. Anyway, so we're coming up to about 25 minutes now, so I'm going to stop the episode here. Thank you guys for watching. I've been the Undead Circuit, and I hope you have a good day. Wrong button.